July 17th. Actually, we'll back up, we'll call, do roll call. Okay. We'll start with Kim Ammer.
Here.
Joe Merzig.
Here.
Joe Holman.
Here.
Neil Lipke. Sam Kemp.
Here.
Frank Stoll. Mark Fox.
Here.
Don Hildendorf.
It's coming over.
Okay. Russ Schrader. Here. Dan Hickford here. Steve Hekmovich.
Here.
Rich Cachet.
Here.
Robert Smith.
Here.
Dave Schrock.
Here.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the minutes. We've all had a chance to review.
Make a motion to approve as printed. Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the last standing committee meeting. Anybody got any comments about it? If there is none, motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, next we'll review and approve the invoices in the financial report.
Nothing is new on it, but I did include a calendar, so maybe after a while we can talk about it as far as when we run 2020 meetings.
Did everybody have a copy of that? Okay. Okay, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the invoices in the financial report. Is there any discussion on it? There is none. Motion has been made and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Public comments.
Yeah, I got a question. Tony Thomas from Mayville. What does a landfill liner look like? You know, it's changed over the years. And how thick is a new liner? I understand there's clay, but then I heard there's like vinyl in it or something. And how long do they last and type thing? You know, how thick are they?
I mean, so that it's different at different sites and stuff like that, but I can speak by us. We have a 4 feet clay liner, and then we have a 60 mil plastic liner, or HDPE, vinyl, if you want to call it that. Then there's another like fabric that goes on top of that, and then there's a foot of drainage lake and stone. It's kind of the bottom layer of our landfill. There's some piping in there and stuff too, but 4 feet of clay, 60 mil, and then like a plastic fabric.
And is the 60 mil like continuous where?
Yep, it's all welded together.
Okay.
Tested.
And that's supposed to do it, the 60 mil. That's pretty thick. 60 mil is pretty thick. Huh, okay.
I'm not sure if other cities are all different.
That's the standard in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay. So how long would they last?
It's a composite system, and the 60 mil liner itself has been tested out for several hundred years in Arizona. I mean, they accelerated degradation of it. Subtitle D, where they were putting these in, has only been on since the early 80s, mid 80s.
So where does the rainwater go down? Does it just kind of run off? You try to keep the water out of it?
Shed as much clean water as possible. Anything that percolates through the waste is collected on the bottom of the landfill and drainage layer. There's a foot of stone above that plastic that's collected there. Jake pumps that out of the landfill, it's taken to the wastewater.
It's all pitched to sumps, and the piping takes it to
There's
tanks.
both points.
And then we haul it to the wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, and that goes through the Mayville wastewater treatment? No.
Not very many.
All the rainwater has to get hauled out?
All the water that percolates through the waste, correct?
Oh.
We call it leachate.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
Okay,
I don't know if you guys had a chance to read the fifth five-year review report for Heckermanville Sanitary Landfill Superfund site. I don't know, some these out right there. Some it out, but there's a couple interesting things in the report. They are very concerning within the report itself. If you look at some of the technical questions within the report, you got question A, question B, question C. So I'd recommend that all you guys go on and take a look at this report. It's showing that the plume is possibly already hit your bedrock area, and there is a lot of concern about that. I'm not quite sure why we don't have this report on this agenda. I think that no matter what, we should include this report, because I thought a standing committee was to take a look at stuff like this. Some of the, if you take a look, as you continue in the report, the assumptions used during the development of the baseline risk assessment and the screening ecological assessment may not be valid. Goes on for a recommendation that the confirmed presence of contamination in the deeper bedrock aquifers that are used as a source of drinking water. I have major concerns about this plume. Even more, I think that the committee here should be, every single committee meeting, we should be talking about this specifically, and it should be on there. I know that there's action by the EPA, there is action by DNR as well, and I'm hoping that everyone takes the time to take a look at this. It's about 102 pages. There's really about 45 pages of reading. But really, as you start getting to page 22 on, you'll see a lot more, actually maybe even a couple pages before. There is some very, very concerning stuff for our drinking water. I'm concerned about Mayville's drinking water supply as this continues to develop, the scenario develop with this. And I think it should be a major concern for us all here as a committee, and it should be all right. Thanks.
is anybody else got any public comment? If not, we'll move on. New business.
4A is the update on the LDRL groundwater monitoring program, which is what I was going to bring up the report below, which is that on the agenda. That's a standing item. I read it. I don't know if I'm qualified to decipher everything in it, but maybe you guys want to comment a little bit about it. And then I'm curious whether we ought to get somebody from the DNR to attend one of our meetings to explain to the group. So I guess if you guys have comments or thoughts beyond those, go ahead. I guess I'm curious what you guys think.
The 5-year review was written by the DNR, approved by the EPA. Advanced is currently writing a response to that 5-year review, so that'll be published and made public soon. So I think we should wait to see that review. It's important to keep in mind that that 5-year review is for the LGRL landfill. This committee here is set up to discuss issues regarding Glacier landfill, but we should continue to we can discuss things as the review is complete and further actions taken by the EPA and beyond.
How does so advance does a response, and then this is what does the DNR and EPA do once they receive
The 5-year review just has no determinations, just recommendations. So Advance will follow up with DNR on those recommendations with a proposed plan to get back done. Some, all the recommendations. From there, it's up to EPA and DNR to approve or possibly come back with additional comments. One of the recommendations is a rod and or ASC, so
thought there were two minor determinations. Prohibition of new wells within 1,200 feet, some other. Those were
recommendations. So everything in the 5-year review is DNR's writing a report to each day as recommendations, no determination. Some will come.
So just in terms of future agenda, then is there, by our next meeting, will that response be available?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is review of retains document production.
Maybe we have the outline. We don't have some actions up here, otherwise we'll follow the same routine. I'll go through my notes and then I'll turn it over to you guys to expand or correct anything that I saw, and then to the rest of the group to comment or ask questions. Tab 1 is the quarter overview, and the comments directly on that section. Tab 2, environmental monitoring data. Advanced environmental monitoring data report for the period from January to June of 2019 included the following. First, no deviations of the solid waste monitoring requirements for the gas extraction wells. Second, no deviations of the air permit operating conditions related to the ADS-GRL gas extraction wells for the supplemental gas extraction points. Third, quarterly gas probe monitoring in January and April did not detect any methane at the 19 gas monitoring probes located around the facility. Fourth, all leachate head levels were below 1 foot of liquid. Fifth, each gas extraction well had more than 50% open perforations. Sixth, the leachate tank and interstitial space readings were within historic data ranges and indicate that leachate has not entered the interstitial space. And then last, the volume of groundwater removed from each of the 7 lysimeters is within historic data ranges. So those are the big findings that I pulled out of here, although you guys can expand on that.
Yeah, I can kind of just go through some of your tabs and just explain it a little bit, I guess. With no deviations, like the gas extraction well, it's kind of like we talked about in the past, where there's parameters. You can't be over 5% oxygen, you've got to keep negative pressure, temperature's got to be below 131 degrees, things like that. So they were all good for that. That all gets uploaded in a database and submitted. It's kind of the same thing as the second tab there, with the deviations, just different. Quarterly gas probe monitoring, we're doing quarterly January, April, October, July, October. Just checking for any methane migrating through. Those are all good. That all gets uploaded as well. Head levels, that gets done by third party on a monthly basis. Just check to make sure what the liquid levels are on the liner down there for the water that is percolating through, as we talked about a little earlier. Each gas extraction well, 50% open perf, that's another code requirement. You got to keep at least 50% of the perf open on a gas well. So it starts to silt in, you get excessive liquid buildup, it's not sucking as much out of there. If they do get close to that 50% mark, then we put pneumatic pumps in to pump that liquid out to keep that in compliance. Leachate tank interstitial space readings, they're done third party monthly too. They take those samples. And then same with lysimeters, that's third party as well. It comes up and takes that and uploads that data.
Do we have questions or comments on any of those? Otherwise, tab 3, report of air permit deviations. The report documents a deviation that occurred when during the monthly well field monitoring events between July of 2018 and July of 2019. One supplemental gas extraction point was not monitored for pressure, temperature, or gas quality. So it was omitted from the list of required monthly monitoring points. It's been added. I don't know if there's anything more that happened this month.
No, it's a supplemental well. What it actually is a leachate cleanout. So we keep the piping that collects the leachate in the bottom, but we can put gas extraction to that as well. So it's a supplemental point. It's not like our normal gas extraction wells. So it's just added after it was missing. They read it initially, then it was kind of abandoned from the monitor.
questions or comments? Then we have a series of, I'm assuming they're called requests for concurrence or something like that, because that's the language that's used in all of them. I'll go through them one at a time. So the first one, tab 4, it's an email regarding abandoning a cleanup. It says as part of the phase 9B, a cleanup was installed at the end of a groundwater control trench that had to be abandoned. The plan of operation didn't specify the process for how that would occur. So there was a proposal made to the DNR on how to handle that, and the DNR concurred with the proposal. That's what I got from the email.
Yeah, I mean, in all these instances where we're requesting a concurrence for field modification, we're doing construction out there. This year, we're doing cover construction and self-construction. Several items that you may run across during construction that the plan of op just doesn't specifically address. In this case, there was a groundwater control trench that was installed after the self-expansion was constructed mid-2000s between what was previously built and self-expansion. There was a cleanout pipe associated with that groundwater control trench. Plan of op did not specify how to properly abandon that pipe, so we proposed a method for a proper abandonment. DNR concurred with that. That was that specific one. You want me to continue with the other one?
Sure.
The underground monitoring point, similar. There's an underground monitoring point associated with the liner system in 9B, which we're currently constructing. The plan of operation detail for construction on that was really a permit level detail. It didn't get into specifics of grade, pitch, slope, how we're going to take it up the slope of the cell. We confirmed those details with DNR and how we propose we're going to install it. So it's just in an effort really to make sure DNR understands fully how we're going to install these things and how we're approaching that particular installation. Final cover modifications. Those are field modifications that are typical on every final cover. When you're tying into an old final cover, the waste continues to settle after you cover it, and you have this differential settlement that goes on. So as we fill next to that final cover, we have areas of grades that don't line up with the existing final cover. So as we close those areas, we have to make minor grade adjustments in order to tie in so we avoid having this sort of vertical cliff down into these settled areas of final cover. So those type of modification was just to address that grade issue we have and how we're going to tie into that existing final cover with the final cover we constructed this year. Again, all those field modifications were approved. We had concurrence from DNR.
So those are tabs 4, 5, and 6 in the report. Do you guys have any questions or comments on any of those? Okay, on to tab 7, air pollution control semi-annual data report. Advance submitted its air pollution data semi-annual report for the period of January 1 to June 30, 2019. Included the following. Number 1, there were no deviations pertaining to well field monitoring, the continuous monitoring system, or surface emissions during that period. Number 2, there were no instances when the landfill gas collection system was not operating more than 5 days during the reporting period, which I assume is a triggering point for something.
Yeah.
Number 3, there were 4 total exceedances of the 500 parts per million methane standard during that period. In each case, corrective action was conducted, and the subsequent rechecks yielded no exceedances. 4th, the open flare system was operational 99.6% of the time during the reporting period. Downtimes did not result in any exceedance of the emission limitations. I guess we can talk more about it, and I guess the exceedances and anything else we have.
Yeah, so like the first bullet point is what we kind of talked about earlier too. It's just another comprehensive report that includes a lot of the same data. So no deviations to that. Yeah, with not operate, you can by permit not operate the gas extraction system for up to 5 days. Obviously, we try to minimize it as much as possible. The flare is very important. It keeps negative vacuum on the hill. So anytime we're doing any sort of expansion, we try to plan ahead as much as possible to minimize that downtime and keep that flare running. So there's no times where we exceeded that. The 4 total exceedances of the 500 parts per million, I think we do a surface scan quarterly, where they have a PID meter to detect emissions coming uphill, and they walk the entire landfill footprint. They check each penetration as well, so any well that penetrates through a vacuum riser, cleano, sump, anything that penetrates through the garbage coming up through the side slopes, they check that as well. The exceedances that we had were actually at penetrations. Two of them were gas extraction wells. One was right next to a clay stockpile where there's some ruts, and it kind of penetrated through. Usually what happens is if that well's extracting the gas, but sometimes you'll get some cracks around there if it's a little bit drier, and then you'll start to get some emissions right through there. So what we do, especially with our types of soils, they're a little more porous, so we take some clay soils and we'll pack them around there, pack them in good, and then they do a recheck within 10 days and a recheck on day 30 to see if those repairs worked. And in those cases they did. If those repairs wouldn't work, then you have to submit a plan of action to the department, to either expand your gas control system, put in more wells, something along that nature. And then the open flare system, 99.6, that kind of ties into the second one, where we try to minimize the amount of downtime as much as possible on the flare.
Anybody have anything to add up? Tab 8 is the semi-annual startup shutdown and malfunction plan report. Dan submitted this report for the period of January 1st to June 30th, 2019. Documents instances where the air pollution control system was started up, shut down, or went into malfunction. It includes a reference chart, which I counted 23 events that had to be reported. Most of them look like they were manual shutdowns that were done intentionally. There are a few that said startup problems following manual shutdown. A couple others, one due to high temperature, and one was a high flow shutdown. So we can take us through all that.
Yeah, like majority are manual shutdowns where we had put in some additional gas piping a couple of years ago. So some of the systems looped, so you can't just shut off isolation valves for all these. So since we put wells in earlier from the ground up, when we're raising those, we have to extend the vacuum riser as well. And if we can't shut off that one, we do have a lot of isolation valves where we can shut off quite a few, so we don't have to shut the flare down. But there are some that are looped that we do have to shut the flare down to be able to extend those. So that's where a lot of those manual shutdowns come into play. Also with construction expansion, new headers, new laterals, you have to shut down there. The ones where it's problems due to like high temperature, high flow, our automated system has checks in there to kind of protect itself from over speeding, just self checks in there. Sometimes when you're down for a little while and you restart the system, you'll have a little higher flow or you'll have more moisture in the gas, and it'll trigger some of those after a little while. Usually you kind of restart the second time, it takes care of those bugs, but those parameters are in there to protect the system. Just sometimes during startup, it'll hit those triggers, then you kind of restart it and you're good to go. The other ones probably are more like some power outages, things like that, or the common causes for the shutdowns.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, for the system shutdowns, for that blower, yeah, that, the one was a shutdown, and then it was inspecting, calibrating it, and another one was getting a second blower online, and the third one is that no more problems were condense related, is that?
Yeah, so we have problems with, so we have a 3-blower system out there, and 2 are designed to run at one time, and the third's a backup. And we had problems with our number 2 blower, and we couldn't figure out exactly what it was. We replaced the bearings in it, it would run hot higher than the other ones, so then it would trip out on temperatures. And we thought it was a condensate issue, that condensate was getting plugged in there, so we were shut down and let all the condensate drain out of the entire system and see if we could physically get that condensate to drain out. We actually ended up having to send that blower in. They found some scaling in there that something kind of gave way on the inside, and the blower only had less than 100 hours on it. But yeah, we had to send that in and get that repaired. So we did some shutdowns, kind of troubleshooting to see what the exact problem was. Where like we couldn't ensure that condensate was all drained 100%. We thought maybe there was some blockage in the pipe above the blower. So we shut down the system to take away that vacuum to let everything